Hello, I'm picking up a lot of comments that you've left. IG2D has said, and this is in response to a piece about Putin, the West's efforts to broker peace at the beginning of the Ukraine war, at the beginning of Putin's special military operation, was very disappointing, to say the least. This remains a major question for me. What were they playing at, collectively fiddling, while Ukraine burned? I do believe Putin is Putin, and what is more is his own man. He is not just parroting talking points handed to him. Well, the main point here is about the West's efforts to stop the war before it began. There was a lot of diplomatic activity and a lot of flying in and out of Moscow and Kyiv. I think we didn't do enough to stop that conflict. We could have done significantly more. In the case of Britain, our problems were exacerbated by fielding one of the most twittish individuals that we could possibly find, that is Liz Truss. Liz Truss, as Foreign Secretary, the thought is even laughable now, but I remember very vividly how Liz Truss tried to face off with Sergei Lavrov, one of the great diplomats in history. And Sergei Lavrov and Liz Truss had a confrontation where Liz Truss said that Russia shouldn't be invading Rostov-on-Don. Well, anybody who's read books like Quiet Flows the Don, anybody who's been to Rostov-on-Don, who has friends in Rostov-on-Don, I do, would know. In fact, anybody who knows Russia knows that Rostov-on-Don is Russian. It's one of the closest cities to Ukraine, but it's not Ukrainian. When you go to Rostov-on-Don, you will find that people sometimes have a slightly sort of Ukrainian twang. They have an accent. There's a patois there, as distinctive as the patois, as the accent that you get if you go north from Moscow up to St. Petersburg. It's not the subtlety of Russian regional accents is not as it is subtle, and it's not as pronounced as, let's say, the difference between someone from Cornwall and somebody from Scotland. Almost incomprehensible in extreme forms. Charming and lovely to hear, but often incomprehensible. The same isn't true about the difference between Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Rostov. But there are words that you get from people who live in Rostov that are different. But Liz Truss was simply ill-briefed, ill-prepared, and the wrong person to send on that mission. I believe, and I still believe, that had we got a foreign secretary of worth at that point, we could have done a great deal to stop this confrontation. Instead, we had somebody who felt that she had to look tough. Exactly the wrong image, and she saw her visit to Moscow as a photo opportunity for her future challenge for the premiership. And how did that turn out? Well, not so different to the effect she had on Mr. Putin and Russia and Ukraine. So, yeah, I think it's an interesting point that you've raised. I'm not completely convinced my account hasn't suddenly been submerged with trolls from St. Petersburg, but take it on the chin. And there's one or two people sending me messages in Cyrillic, which entertains me greatly. And whether Putin is alive or dead, does it matter? Does it really matter? The problem is there is a force. There is a force from the Kremlin, which at the moment is utterly intransigent. But there are signs. There are signs of a willingness to talk. If that's only a willingness to discuss the terms on which they would release Evan Gershkovich, That's a starting point, isn't it? And we build on what is possible. As for speculation about whether the person we saw the other night is really Putin, or is Putin's doppelganger and very well rehearsed, well, let's give praise where praise is due. He was very well rehearsed.